Thank you, everybody, for being with us tonight. This is something our Dearborn Democratic Club has been done before in the past because we feel it's very important to our community to know who they represent when they get elected or who to elect when they're running for a position within the city. We, as you know, our meetings usually 99.9%, it's the last Wednesday of each month. This one is different. We had to change it from last week to this week to accommodate several candidates who could not make it if we had to have the meeting last week. So I hope we accommodated all of you tonight, and we hope that more of our members will join us tonight too. You know, we had a plan how to do this forum between me and Janet, my vice president. Unfortunately, she lost power at her house, so now she does not have a Wi-Fi. So now I have to do all the work now. With that being said, some of you probably knows some of these rules that we have been established. We do have confirmed 17 candidates as of now. If there's 18 candidates running for the city council, obviously that's a lot of candidates. That tells you, you know, this is an important seat to the city, to be on the government here and to give us your best to represent the citizens of this community. We do have a little bit of rules here we need to go over quickly. One of these rules, you know, we will give you 1 minute for your self-introduction for all the candidates. And we're gonna go based on the list we have alphabetical, and I'll call the candidate name. The second thing, I will give you 10-second warning. Your time is up and you need to stop, otherwise you will be muted. Second thing we need to know is some of these rules. I understand some of these questions, it's very, very hard to answer it in 1 minute, 60 seconds. So each candidate will have 60 seconds to answer the question. And I will give you the 10-second warning, and you please make sure you stop. Candidates, we have a plan to go ask the candidates based on their names, alphabetical, and then we'll do the reverse. Let's say, I know this is not the case, we go from 1 to 4. Number 3 is not in attendance. We would not go back. We'll just continue with the questions. Candidates will answer questions in alphabetical order. The second round of questions will go in the reverse alphabetical too. Candidates should adhere to the time limits, like we said, the 60 seconds. Candidate who run over time may be muted. A candidate will not be allowed to post comments or questions in the meeting chat. Otherwise, just only your contact information, or if you have a link or something, you can put that in the chat. Candidates will not be allowed to speak over each other. And please make sure, you know, when you answer a question, tell us what you are going to do, not what your opponent has done or he's going to do. Just talk about your campaign. Talk about, answer a question for your own, not what other candidates or candidate is going to do or has not done. Meeting attendees from the public will be muted and will not be able to ask any questions. Candidates should avoid using their phones, please, during this forum. That's basically what I have. The first question, like I said, first thing, you will have 1 minute to speak about yourself. And then there will be the first question. It will be for all the 17 candidates. The second question will be for the first candidate, second question for the next 4, and etc. And we'll go from there. And with that being said, I will go based on the list I have. You will have 1 minute, and I have my timer here. I'm gonna make sure I have my timer on and goes. The first candidate I have for City Council, Abdul Malak Zaid. If he's here, I'm gonna ask you to go ahead and you have your first minute to talk about yourself and about your candidacy. Are you there?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, go ahead, please.
I'd like to thank the Dearborn Democratic Club for this opportunity tonight and to host this event to help better inform the residents here in Dearborn about who we are and what we plan on doing. My name is Ziad Abdul Malik. I am 34 years old, lifelong Dearborn resident. I am a husband and a father of one and one on the way. I am proud to have this opportunity to have raising my son here in the city of Dearborn, as my family has raised me here before. I am a product of the Dearborn Public Schools. Started my education here with 3 elementary schools as we moved around the city, middle school at Woodworth Middle School, and ultimately graduated from Fortson High School. I started my college career here in the city of Dearborn at Henry Ford Community College, where I ultimately from there was recruited as a consultant to a logistics firm here in the city of Dearborn.
10 seconds.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, next candidate, Robert Abraham.
Thank you. My name is Robert Abraham. I'm a candidate for Dearborn City Council. I've been serving as a city councilman for almost 20 years now. I'm a 3rd generation lifetime Dearborn resident, father of 3 children that all graduated from Dearborn Public Schools and are all graduates of college with degrees. I believe my experience and my dedication, both as a public servant and as a CPA and professional, will serve the community well during the transition from the current administration to our next future mayor. As many of you know, there are going to be at least 3 open seats that will be replaced with new council people. And I think it's very important for the community to have a balance of fresh new ideas with experience and stability in our local government. I've been endorsed this year by the Dearborn firefighters and previously endorsed by the Police Officers Association of Dearborn. I'm looking forward to more endorsements as we go, and I'm asking everyone to please vote for me in August and November. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jonathan Akari.
Thank you. My name is John Akari. I'm an attorney and a lifelong Dearborn resident. I'm the product of a union household and of the Dearborn Public Schools, which enabled me to become the first person in my family to graduate from a university and obtain a professional license. I want to reverse a 10-year trend of cuts to critical and popular services in this city. Young people are fleeing Dearborn, and it's increasingly clear that the status quo is unsustainable. I'm fighting for a bold and inclusive future for the city, and what that means is having a comprehensive understanding of what public safety is, abandoning punitive, ineffective, and inefficient approaches to mental illness, substance abuse, and homelessness. It also means protecting residents from discrimination in housing and ensuring Dearborn's an affordable place to live. And it also means having the guts to take on corporate polluters
10 seconds.
And punishing them for their pollution rather than rewarding them with sweetheart deals on their water bills. My vision for the city is aggressive and ambitious, but I think that together we can build a city that ensures a dignified life for all residents.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Next, Saeed Mashkari. Go ahead, Saeed. Can you unmute him? We can hear you. You are muted.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Sammy. Thank you, Dearborn Democratic Club, for giving us this opportunity. Good evening to all of you. My name is Saeed Mashgari Al-Awali. I know it's a pretty long name. I'm pretty much I have lived over 40 years in the city of Dearborn. I am a married man with 5 daughters. I graduated out of Salina School, and then after I graduated out of Fortson High School, and went on to complete my college in business administration as well as accounting. I've been very involved in my community. I've dedicated my whole life to the betterment of our communities and the city as a whole, and I hope to continue that trend. Thank you.
Thank you, Saeed. We're going to go to Kamal Sawafi.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Kamal Sawafi, and I'm running for Dearborn City Council because I love our city, and I have the passion and desire to serve. Most importantly, I decided to run because I'm qualified, experienced, and prepared to leverage that experience to tackle the residents' concerns on day one. I earned my bachelor's degree from the University of Michigan Dearborn, where I was elected as the president of the Supply Chain Association, and earned my master's degree from Wayne State University. Currently, I work full-time as Wayne County's business development manager. Every day, I work to help attract new investments and development projects to Wayne County. While my favorite part of the job is the help I provide to local business owners who are looking to start up or expand their business. I help remove the red tape and get them back to business. I'm also currently serving as a lieutenant in the Michigan Army National Guard as a platoon leader out of Lansing, Michigan. In addition, I'm a member of the Dearborn Allied War Veterans Council and sit on the board of directors for several community organizations. But most importantly, I'm your neighbor. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamal. Next, we have Huda Berry. Is she here?
Sammy Hood is not able to be with us tonight.
Okay. We're going to go to Erin Barnes.
Thank you. I'd like to start by saying thank you to the Dearborn Democratic Club for hosting tonight's forum and for all the candidates attending this evening and members of the public as well, of course. My name is Erin Burns and I'm a candidate for re-election to Dearborn City Council. I'm committed to being responsive to residents and to managing our city budget with thoughtful consideration. Over the past 4 years, I've worked to move Dearborn forward by promoting equity, inclusion, and environmental justice, while also investing in what has always made Dearborn a great place to live. Quality city services, including recreation in our libraries, and of course, our highly skilled first responders. I've supported our local businesses throughout the pandemic and have worked with our downtown development authorities to enhance walkability and vibrancy in our business districts. My goal is always to serve with honesty and integrity and to make tough decisions when necessary. I will always work hard for the people of Dearborn and have your best interests at heart. And I ask for your vote on August 3rd.
Thank you, Erin. Next, we can go to Silvio Davis.
Oh, there we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
So my name is Silvio Davis. I'm going to give you a quick little summary about myself and what I do to serve this community. I'm currently the president of the Dearborn Goodfellows. I'm the past president of Hines Park PM Rotary Club. I run floating night over at 10 Night Pool during the summer, and I work year round with the Dearborn Bird Drive, police charities, and the Dearborn school system to serve those in need. Pretty much if something comes across my plate for me to serve this community, I'm going to do my best to get it done. We need strong leadership. We need people who are passionate about our community. Most of all, we need people who are going to have a voice for all residents in this community. That's why I'm running for city council. In my eyes, we're one Dearborn, we're one team, and we're one family. Thank you.
Thank you. We can go to Camille Al-Qadiri. Kamal Al-Qadiri.
Yes, good evening, everyone. Thank you to the Dearborn Democratic Club for hosting this event. My name is Kamal Al-Qadri. I was born, raised in Dearborn, educated in Dearborn, went to Dearborn Public Schools, graduated from Fortson, went to Henry Ford Community College, and obtained an associate's degree in HVAC. I have a bachelor's degree in business management. I also have a master's degree in leadership. Not only have I been educated in Dearborn, I also work in Dearborn at Henry Ford Village. I've been there for 22 years, as well as raised a family in Dearborn, married to my wife, Miriam, who is a longtime Dearborn educator. My kids go to Dearborn Public Schools, and Dearborn's given a lot to me over the years. And I would like to bring that opportunity to others to come to Dearborn and keep the residents safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna go to Lula El Zain. Is Lula with us? Do we have Lula with us? Okay, we're gonna go to Gary Enos. Gary, are you with us? Okay, Gary is not with us. We're gonna go to Khadur Farhat. If you can just
you hear me?
one. Yeah, let me just try to turn on my timer here. Okay, go ahead, Khadur.
Sure. Can you hear me? Sammy, everybody, good evening. Thank you so much for putting this together. I appreciate the Dearborn Democratic Club. My name is Khadur Farhat, and I'm running for Dearborn City Council this year. And I'm running to simply be a voice for the voices in our city. I'm running to reestablish a disability commission. I'm running to fight for equitable and reasonable lifestyle. I'm running to fight for affordable housing. I'm running to fight the environmental injustice in the south end of Dearborn. And not to mention, I'm a long time advocate and active in the city for the past 8-9 years. I got my degree in political science from the University of Michigan Dearborn, and before that, my associate degree in special ed from Henry Ford College. I've been very involved with a countless number of organizations for the past years, and I'm extremely thrilled and honored that I do have the opportunity to run, and I'm hoping to earn the vote and trust and support of our great residents in August and November. Losing by 13 votes last year did not discourage me at all. Actually, it's encouraged me to run again and again because we need a great change. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Khadur. We're gonna go to Mustafa Hamoud. Mustafa.
Hello. Thank you for hosting the forum. My name is Mustafa Hamoud, and I'm here to respectfully ask for your support this election. I was born and raised in Dearborn, attended Dearborn Public Schools, and graduated from U of M Dearborn with a degree in electrical engineering. I have been active in local politics for many years, and even as a kid, I've actually attended many Democratic Club events and other political events with my father. I've also volunteered on many local campaigns in the past, was a Democratic precinct delegate before, and I'm actually currently a member of the Dearborn Democratic Club. As an engineer at Ford, I use an innovation mindset every day to implement solutions for our customers. And if elected to council, I plan to bring that mindset and do the same for Dearborn. I'm running for city council because as a taxpayer, I want every dollar to count. I want to make sure that Dearborn is a model for every city to follow in innovation and readiness for the future. I want to implement common sense solutions and bring a new energy to our city. And I hope to see you all soon during this campaign because I want to hear what issues matter to you, because only by working together can we build a better Dearborn for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Mustafa. Next candidate is Leslie Herrick. Leslie.
Hi, I apologize. My camera is just not working. Thank you for the opportunity to participate in this forum this evening. My name is Leslie Herrick, and I'm asking for your vote to re-elect me to continue to serve on Dearborn City Council. I was first elected 4 years ago, and in the past 4 years, I've spent much of my time working with our residents and listening to our residents' concerns and addressing those concerns. In the meantime, I've also gone through training with the Michigan Municipal League, so I'm the only current candidate and council member to hold accreditation from the Michigan Municipal League in local government. And now I'm having more trouble with my camera. I'm asking for your vote so I can continue to do the work that we've been doing. Some of the priorities that I focused on and had proven results: public safety, maintaining staffing and training for our first responders, and even fighting for safer working conditions on occasion for them.
10 seconds.
Neighborhoods, walkable business districts, arts, culture, recreation, transparency, and accountability. And I will continue to focus on those initiatives as well as the challenges that we're facing after the pandemic. I'm asking for your vote for Dearborn City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie. Next, we have Sam Lukman. Is Sam with us?
Yes, I am. Hi, my name is Samra Lukman. I go by Sam. I'm a single mom of 2 kids, and people ask me all the time, why do you run why are you running for city council? And just to make it clear, I never grew up as a kid thinking when I grow up I want to be a politician or an activist. It was just through serendipity when your neighbors ask you to help them with a citation or going to the courthouse to help translate for another, that I became an activist for residents. Through my activism and being an intellectual, I questioned actions by the administration and by the council. And having experienced firsthand the residents' voices not being heard, I've decided to change my strategy in effectuating change by going in and making the changes from the inside out. The colloquial definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. So after 20 years of advocacy, I'm going to go in and make the changes from the inside out. Vote for Sam. Thank you.
Thank you. Khalil Othman. Do we have Khalil?
Yes, I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
All right, thank you very much for hosting such an amazing event. My name is Khalil Othman, and I'm truly honored to be here. I'm a loving husband and a father of 5 beautiful children. My family and I are product of Dearborn Public School. For my educational career path, I started at Henry Ford Community College, which paved the way to earn my master's degree in information technology. I'm coming to this election with over 16 years of experience. I do believe that I'm the only candidate who has an extensive information technology background. With the digital world that we live in today, technology is one of the main factors for innovation and modernization. I do believe that with technology, we can improve city services, optimize cost, balance budget, and bring the city to the modern 21st century. As an IT professional leader working for one of the largest auto companies, I have the privilege to work with multiple people from multiple backgrounds. I do believe I have the qualifications, the skills, and experience to represent Dearborn residents. I hope I can earn your vote and your support on August 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you, Khalil. We do have next Ken Perez. Ken?
Yes, good evening, folks. Hello, my name is Ken Perez, and I'm running for Dearborn City Council, and thank you to the Democratic Club for hosting this event. I've been a resident of Dearborn for well over 50 years, been married for over 40 years. I've got 2 children and a son-in-law that are all police officers in other communities, and my daughter also serves as a clinical psychologist, and I have 2 grandchildren. Been in my past career a police command officer and police officer of the city of Dearborn for over 27 years, and also the first police officer on the University of Michigan Dearborn campus. I served 12 years there, and I've been at AAA for the last 7 years. I've attended Henry Ford College, U of M Dearborn, attended a lot of police and staff command, high-level police and FBI National Associates training. I served on the pension board as a trustee and a union executive board. I have a lot of experience. Dearborn Traffic Commission, we need to address traffic safety concerns, and I'm the person that has the experience to do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Next, the last one is Mike Serini. Mike?
Yeah, can you hear me, Sammy?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, everyone in the Dearborn Democratic Club for hosting this. My name is Mike Serini. I am running for re-election on the council. I am serving my 2nd term. I'm a lifelong resident a father of 5 children, and I'm a product of our Dearborn school system. I also went to Henry Ford Community College and then went out in the workforce. I decided later in life to follow in service as I watched my mom as a young man I was serving people in our community. I decided that that was something I'd like to continue and do as well. So I went back and earned my bachelor's degree at the University of Michigan. Then I went on to law school while I was working full time, graduated cum laude, passed the bar, and then now is also a practicing part-time attorney. I have a lot of experience on the council. I have challenged tremendous amount of questions I've asked during my term because I have believed that sometimes you have to ask the questions 4 or 5 times to get the answers, and you can't make an informed decision without it. So I hope that you consider me for re-election. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, so the first part of the forum is done. We can go to real questions. Just to let everybody know, I got this list of questions. We picked some of these questions. Obviously, we can't ask all of them because there are too many of them. And these questions were from our members who submitted these questions. I have no idea which question belongs to, so I just have them here. The first question is, like we said, we need all the candidates to answer. So we can start again from the beginning for the first question, which is going to be, like I said, it's going to be very hard to answer it in 60 seconds and 1 minute, but we have to keep it this way. The question is, we're going to go ahead and start with Ziad Abdul Malik. The question is, do you support the development of a civilian-led police oversight board in the city of Dearborn? Ziad or Zaid? Go ahead.
Can you go ahead and repeat the question one more time? You said a civilian-led.
Yeah, do you support the development of a civilian-led police oversight board in the city of Dearborn?
Yes, I absolutely would support something like that. We have a great police department. In my opinion, I think we have one of the greatest police forces here in the country, and I feel that some other police departments look at us as an example. So with that being said, having somebody who's there to like make sure that our police don't go over that line or cross any lines in the future, there's always somebody to hold somebody accountable. Our city should be a model of accountability. So to have civilians and residents in our own city come in there and saying, look, this is what's okay. No, you guys overstepped your boundary. This is the definition of accountability. We shouldn't have to hide behind an incident or some event that catches national attention before we step forward and say, look, we need to find a way to make sure that everything is handled properly. And the best way to have that done is having our residents have the oversight over our police officers. Now, this is not a punishment board or anything of that nature. This is just their steps to ensure that there is transparency in the process and that there is accountability.
Thank you, Ziad. Thank you. Robert Abraham?
Yes, thank you. My name is Robert Abraham. I would support the Oversight Committee. I remain open-minded to all new and creative solutions in our community, regardless of the issue. I think it's important to keep in mind that as council members, obviously we have to adhere to our city charter and state regulations, and I'm very sensitive to strict enforcement of all rules. I do believe that a committee, if it can be created and managed properly, would increase transparency and accountability. I do support our Dearborn police force, our Dearborn police officers. I believe our police department is one of the finest departments in the state, if not in the United States. And anything we can do to support the safety and well-being of our officers, and at the same time promoting transparency and accountability, not just in the police department, but throughout the entire city government, I think we should always encourage that and strive for the highest
you, Bob.
standards we can.
Thank you. Next, John Akari.
Yes, absolutely. I support an independent accountability commission. And critically, it has to be actually independent. It has to be funded. It has to have the authority to investigate allegations of misconduct. And it has to have the authority to discipline officers for misconduct, as well as the ability to recommend policy changes for the entire department upon review of certain data. It's no secret that in the last 5 years, 2 unarmed African Americans were killed at the hands of Dearborn police, each resulting in a substantial civil settlement, most of which the taxpayer was on the hook for. And the officers involved in those and other cases were not held internally accountable. We can't even tell because there is no transparency to the accountability process. In addition, I support demand-based staffing so Dearborn can join every other city in the state to determine, with reference to data and calls to servants, what kind and the amount of staff necessary to keep the city safe, balanced against costs to the city. That includes an unarmed response team for mental health and substance abuse crises, and it also involves using traffic calming so street design can impose caution upon reckless drivers.
Thank you, John. Mr. Saeed Mashkari.
Yes. Hang on 1 second, because there we go. I definitely support that. I think that's a terrific thing to do. It's it kind of works like a check and balance to make sure that we have transparency with this. Not to say anything in regards to our police department. I think we have one of the, if not the most efficient and sufficient police department in the U.S. I see this because I sit on the traffic commission for the last 8 years, so I've seen a lot of things that the Dearborn Police does. But I do support this process of oversighting. Thank you.
Thank you, Said. We're gonna go to Kamal Asawafi.
Yes, my name is Kamal Sawafi, and absolutely, I am in favor of transparency and accountability and keeping our community safe. As an officer in the Michigan National Guard, I know discipline, command and control when I see one, and I know we have discipline, command and control in our Dearborn Police Department, which is one of the best departments in Michigan, if not the whole United States. With that being said, as an officer, I command troops in my unit, and I'm the first to hold them accountable if something is done wrong by them. So of course, I'm all for accountability and all for this type of accountability for our departments. And I believe even the Dearborn Police Department would agree that they are all about accountability for their actions.
Thank you, Kamal. We're gonna go to Aaron.
Thank you. To answer the question directly, yes, I do support the development of a civilian-led oversight committee. I think it's incredibly important for community members and our law enforcement officers to examine existing best practices and then determine what would work best for the city of Dearborn. I do think oversight committees can enhance transparency, and that's something that I've worked on with our police department during my first term. Thus far, we've added arrest and traffic citation data to the city's website, and of course, we have a lot more work to do to that end. It's a first step, but not the entire path has been laid out yet. And so I would be supportive of something like this. I do think that a really important step in improving, the relationship between the community and law enforcement officials is open and honest dialogue about what's working well and then where we see room for improvement. I think that resident involvement is a really critical component of ensuring community policing practices. So I look forward to working with community members and our police department to make that happen moving forward.
Thank you, Aaron. We're gonna go to Silvio Davis.
So yes, I would definitely need to learn more about it, but I would be definitely supportive of any concerns regarding it and trying to start some sort of oversight commission regarding residents. Accountability for anybody, especially behind the badge, is always good in our community. You know, I am very supportive of the Dearborn Police Department, so I know, knowing them and working side by side with them, I think as a community we can come together and form some kind of committee that would work or oversee certain things that they did. I think that there's some things that need to stay within the department, but definitely that open dialogue and communication with the community and with the police department, we could figure something out. We will always, I think as our community, Dearborn is very diverse and unique, and I think that together in an open dialogue conversation that we will definitely figure out and make everybody happy.
Thank you.
Supporting that.
Silvio. We're going to go to Kamal Al-Qadiri. Kamal?
Yes, I would support a committee for transparency. I respect Dearborn Police. They do a wonderful job. And in order to have transparency and let the residents know, you know, what is going on, and they would be able to understand what exactly happened in order to help everyone in the community out. So yes, I would support a committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamal. We can go to Kadur Farhat. Mr. Farhat.
Sure, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. So first and foremost, I would like to give a shout out to our great men and women of the police and the fire departments for doing a great job, especially in the midst of this pandemic, and as they administered and organized the COVID-19 vaccines, and they showed that what a great collaboration. In a nutshell, I do actually support firmly the idea, but not of any committee. The committee has to be unbiased, has to be independent. It has to be built upon the premise of bridging the gap between the community and our police officers in the police department. So transparency and accountability are certainly one of the most valuable things that we should consider here, and it should aim to make things better and release the tension that some of our residents have, which is understandable, and to make sure that everybody is getting what they deserve and doing justice, whether it's our police department and our officers or to our residents, just to ensure, again, transparency and accountability. Thank you.
Thank you, Khadur. We're going to go to Mustafa Hamoud.
Hey, thank you for the question. I do believe in civilian oversight and community engagement with law enforcement. I believe we have oversight right now through the council and the mayor's office, especially. If elected, I'll be open to explore any ideas to improve the operation of all city departments, including the police. But I think forming any additional bodies within cities is a serious matter, and it has to be done with serious consideration. I think the goal would be to work with the management of the police department to ensure our police force serves with respect for all while maintaining a safe community. And I want our residents to feel safe approaching police officers, and I want our officers to be comfortable working within our community. So this is definitely something to investigate, but I think we have to be, as Khadur actually said, we need to make sure that they're independent, and we're very careful how we form any new bodies in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Leslie Herrick.
Thank you. I value public input in all city departments, and I have worked very hard to inform the public about the commissions that already exist within the city. I think we need to look carefully before we add any additional commissions. Committees that are a short-term body might address an addition, a specific incident that has happened, but I think the public deserves to be heard. And so this is an opportunity for us to perhaps establish a community relations committee that has more interaction with different departments, but in particular the police department, to help increase the transparency and the accountability for the department itself. I know that our police department is an example of best practices that is shown across the country in many ways, but there's always room for improvement. And if public input is a way to help them make changes that are needed for practices today, I'm willing to have those. I'm open to those discussions, and I certainly want to increase transparency.
Thank you, Leslie. I'm going to go to Sam Lukman. Sam?
So yeah, these boards are meant to do a couple things: deter police misconduct, and essentially improve the public trust in that department. So I do believe that board is necessary, but I do want to include the same thing as what one of the other candidates said, that there's a contingency that the board has investigative, administrative, and disciplinary powers. That said, at this point, we have had examples of wrongdoing and settlements that have been done. So why haven't we discussed this already? Why hasn't it been brought to council, and why hasn't it been passed? We do need an investigative body. We do need a civil board, because that's what builds the trust back. LA has had one, and they did it within 2 years after the riots. Chicago did it within 2 years after a shooting of an unarmed Black man. And I also would add that I would support also an inspector general that would oversee all the departments and ensure that there's a complaint process for civilians for all departments. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Khalil Othman. Khalil?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, to respond to this question directly, I'm totally supportive of this oversight committee. And in fact, we need to take a step back to look at the actual involvement with this committee. Because by the end of the day, we want that committee to hold the police department accountable. At the same time, we want that committee to build and bridge the gap between the police enforcement and the public. And eventually, this committee will work as a liaison or a coordinator to facilitate all the communications between the police enforcement and the community members. At the same time, having measurable metrics that will hold all these wrongdoings accountable for what they have done. It will be a key because by the end of the day, it's all based on data, and I'm totally supportive for this.
Thank you, Sam. Othman. And we're gonna go to Ken Barris.
Hi, folks. I'm a little bit cautious about this. I was a lifelong career police officer, and I've got children and a lot of people that I know that are performing duties of a police officer. Really have to be careful here and understand what the membership and criteria and authority and the makeup of this group may entail. If we're talking about any investigation and oversight of a police department, what are the qualifications of people in order to do this? I'm just a little bit cautious on this. There are oversight commissions, there are authorities. I don't want this to be a knee-jerk reaction because people think that we have to do it. There are other communities like Ann Arbor. Melvindale's had a public safety commission for a long time. East Lansing, Ypsilanti, Detroit Board of Commissioners, Muskegon, Grand Rapids, University of Michigan, both Dearborn and the main campus.
10 seconds.
There's a registry to document misconduct from the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards. I've attended some partnership for progress, police and community progress, listening to us. We need to listen to our communities. Thank you.
Thank you. Last one. Mike Sereni. Mike?
Yeah, Sammy, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. No, I don't support it. I think that I look at things a little differently. Community engagement is our job. The last time I checked, I read the charter. It's the job of the council to investigate. We can subpoena. We have all the power to do it. We have to have the courage to do it. There's some people on the council that don't want to do that. So I don't agree that creating an oversight board of 10 or 15 people, or however number, last time we had somebody wanted 50 people, is going to be able to do the job. By the way, they will be appointed by the mayor because we don't have the appointment power unless we write it in, which they refuse to do, which I brought up several times. So for me, it's very simple, okay? If you read the charter and you sign up for this job, you represent the community. I represent the community. I'm the one that's elected. So I don't believe that 10 or 15 or how many people that is a civilian oversight board that has any powers whatsoever, whatever their rationale is, they're not the voice of the people. We are the voice of the people. That's why we ran for office. That's why we put our name on the ballot, not to kick the can and create commissions to do our job. So it's very simple for me. We have to have oversight. We have the authority to do that in the charter, and we have to exercise that. And just to make it clear, I have checked. There is absolutely no cases open in the court right now of any misuse or conduct by any of our police officers. There's 2 cases that were resolved that were both highly investigated by the federal government and the Wayne County prosecutor, and they were all cleared of charges. They were unfortunate, terrible incidents. But that does not mean that we are the model and that our job as a council is not to oversight, and community involvement is separate from oversight.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, now I'm gonna ask one question, and I will start with Mike, and I'll call the names. I'm gonna pick a question here from the ones we agreed to ask. First question is, what are your plans for improving the air and water quality of Dearborn? You also have 1 minute to answer this question. We're going to start with you, Mike.
Yeah, well, of course, it's a tough question because we have laws that we have to adhere to between the EPA, and Eagle is now the new name of our state. But to me, I look at it very simple. We have to enforce the rules. So we can't say that somebody's polluting, but that's okay. See, what happens is just like raising kids or children or being a teacher, whenever you do something with consistency, you gain respect and people know what they expect. But if you turn around and do not give tickets out and then let it go for a year or 2, then give tickets out and then say, well, trucks are riding around with no tarps when the state law requires them to have tarps, we should have been enforcing it from day one. So there's laws in place. Eagle, for myself, the state of Michigan, we would follow the rules. Polluters would be charged every single time by the letter of the law. That's the only way you can have a positive civil society. We can't pick and choose. That's the biggest complaint that we have on the council is the inconsistency. You can't pick and choose when you want to enforce the rules. So you have to enforce the rules. And then this way we'll have clean air and clean water, and our citizens will be respective of us because we're doing our job consistently.
Thank you, Mike. Gonna go to Kim Paris for the same question.
Yes, Ken Paris here. You know, I attend an awful lot of city council meetings and other related meetings of the city. I attended all these meetings for the fugitive dust ordinance and the environmental concerns. I've also attended a lot of meetings down at Salina School. There's a few things that people may not be aware of. You know, the incident that we had just a couple years ago at Fire Station 5 with the mold. And don't forget the PFAS incident that we probably had down on Schaefer when it could have been from a scrapyard fire in Melvindale. That for many years that PFAS may have been used as a fire retardant. I inquired with Eagle and I inquired with the public advocate for Eagle a couple different times because I felt our firefighters were at risk. And come to find out, Chief Murray ended up saying that they changed the fire retardant. I'm very interested in these environmental issues, and I've attended some meetings even outside of the city because 48217 is the most polluted area, and that also includes us outside those boundaries. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Can I go to next? Khalil Othman?
Yes.
Any question?
As for the environmental pollution and dust ordinance, I do believe that enforcement is a must, and the current ordinance that as it stands today, it takes about 4 violations till the people get punished. So I do believe that as a city council member, I will push for proactive approach. So when there is a violation, the city will react to it, and not the residents will call and complain and start reporting. By the time they call and report the incidents, the inspector will come out, nothing, they will not see nothing. And we noticed this multiple times in our community. So I will push for proactive approaches to improve the current dust ordinances. And I'm really concerned about why the enforcement is not taking place today. Why cannot we hold people accountable today, as if where the current dust ordinance stands? So I will continue pushing for proactive approaches when it comes to pollution and environmental issues.
Thank you, Khalil. I'm gonna go to Sam Lukman.
Hi, thanks. So one of the candidates in the last question said, we are, as the council, the civil enforcement entity. And I just want to know where the council has been for the violations in the last few years. I'm holding the company accountable as a citizen by filing a notice of intent to sue the company to enforce the Clean Air Act. That's what I'm doing as a resident. I'm getting a supplemental environmental project for 1,117 households in the South End. I'm doing that and I'm a resident. Where's the council been? There's a fugitive dust ordinance that is in place. That's correct. But who's pushing for the covering of bulk solids, of metallurgical coke that is going into our children's lungs on Miller Road? Who's doing that? It's not the council. It's been me and my group of people living in the South End that have been complaining about it. I've been meeting with Tim Hawkins, emailing him for that change to be incorporated. And last month, when the council had an amendment put on their table, who asked him why it wasn't included? There's been no accountability, there's been no enforcement, and that has to change. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. We're going to go to Leslie Herrick. Leslie, same question.
Thank you. I'm a lifelong member of the Sierra Club, and I'm a member of the League of Conservation Voters. And long before I even thought about running for council, I stood with my fellow members of the Sierra Club and protested and went to public hearings with the EPA, now Eagle, to prohibit companies from increasing the amounts of emissions that they were requesting to be able to do. On city council, I was happy to be the one that introduced the tougher environmental ordinances so that there's a stricter penalty for those who break our current fugitive dust ordinance. That is a baby step in the right direction that we finally introduced that ordinance last year. But I'm glad to see that our legal department is working to try to introduce ordinances that we are able to enforce.
10 seconds.
And that's part of it, is that we have the staff and the authority and the funding to enforce it. But I'll continue to work with our state representatives and our federal representatives to change the laws to protect the residents, especially in Southeast Dearborn.
Thank you, Leslie. Okay, next question. Pick another question. I'd like to see, it's 8 o'clock. Okay, how will you reduce the property taxes in the city? And this question is gonna go to Mustafa Hamoud.
All right, that's a great question. I think that our property taxes in Dearborn are some of the highest in the state, and this is a very serious problem that we need to address. If elected to council, I'll be using my oversight role to make sure that there are no unnecessary cost overruns. Knowing that the mayor's office is charged with actually implementing services, I will be using the council's power of budgetary approval to make sure that we don't have any unnecessary fluff in the budget. I will not hesitate to allocate money to our services that our residents may feel are lacking, like things like drug treatment, healthcare, and environmental regulations and enforcement. And I want to stress, though, that even as we make these cuts, it's important that we maintain efficient and effective city services. That's what's most important to me. And our goal will be to make sure that we implement modern solutions and bring the city into the future and be a model for other cities on how effective we're going to implement our budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Kadur Farhat.
Yes. So first and foremost, I'd like to say big shout out to the group, the tax group, Dearborn Community Council, for leading the discussion on this for the past few years. And I think that they have brought a great attention, and they did actually highlight this issue. Dearborn is encountering and does have one of the highest tax rates in the region, if not actually the state. And a lot of people are not happy with that, and that's what I understand. If elected, I cannot do everything by myself. I'll be elected 1 out of 7. And then we need to collaborate with different departments. And also we need to make sure that we highlight the fact that our taxes also, why they're a bit high, because part of the mills, and we do have debt, and we have to work around that. And I want to make sure that also every tax dollar is being spent properly, and we are allocating money properly, because we are having available to our residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Kadur. We're going to go to Kamal Qadiri.
Yes. So as far as is tax spending, we need to look at the spending. We need to look at the budget, make sure that the budget is allocated correctly, and that we don't have any wasteful spending. Purchasing something and then 2 years later purchasing something to replace it because it wasn't the correct item or didn't work out for them. Those types of purchases, that's wasteful for the city, it's wasteful for the residents, and we need to hold the correct people accountable for that. Again, it's not going to take one person, it's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to take time. And we need to look at those budgets and find out why we are spending the money where we are and why we have the wasteful spending. And that's just one part of it. And as well as bringing in the revenue to the city and looking for other opportunities as far as ways to get spending and put it in the right spots.
Thank you, Kamal. We're going to go to Salvio Davis.
Yes, thank you. No solid plan to reduce the budget or I'm sorry, the property taxes. I think listening to the residents and being a voice for them is definitely the thing that I'm going to focus on. Understanding the budget more in depth and being transparent with the residents. I think if we understand where we're spending our money and how we're spending our money, then people are going to be more up to beat and update on what we're spending that money on. We do have budget hearings and things that are open to the public where they can voice their opinions. But I think technology is going to move us forward. I think transparency between the community and city leaders is what's going to move us forward to reduce the property taxes, or at least have people understand why we pay such high property taxes. I mean, we have great city services. Whatever we do, if we call 911, people show up. If we complain about a neighbor with long grass, they show up. We have excellent services. So just the communication between the community and City Hall is going to be the focus on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Aaron?
Thank you. With regard to property taxes, I think the first thing that we need to do is to ensure that our assessment process is both fair and transparent. And I can tell you that council, has worked with the appropriate city staff during my first term, certainly, to improve communication to that end. I think that's very important. Also, community education around the uncapping, of property taxes when a home is sold, that's also critical. We need to make sure that folks are aware of what happens when they're purchasing a home and what to expect. So I think we need to do more work on that. Of course, we also have to look really carefully at our city budget, resources at our disposal, and the uncertainty that we're facing right now as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, of course, as we work through our current budget season. I really want to make sure that Dearborn offers affordable housing, and that we have a diverse housing market that welcomes people from a variety of socioeconomic backgrounds. I think that's really important. And also bringing in new revenue via economic development. I think that will help us bring in necessary dollars as we go about a process of examining methods for addressing higher property taxes.
Thank you, Erin. Okay, next question. Next question, how would you work with the city executive board, for example, the mayor, to make sure, to have a balanced budget? We're gonna go ahead and start with Kamal Al-Sawafi.
Thank you, Sammy. That's an excellent question. My name is Kamal Al-Sawafi. And one of the things I would like to do is use my experience. I currently work for Wayne County as a business development manager, and I want to bring over that experience of helping bring development to our city, helping increase revenue to our city, help increase downtowns, and helping make streets more walkable for our residents and guests that come into our city. So that's the type of work I want to bring over and work with the mayor's office and with all departments, bring my experience from Chrysler, working at Chrysler, where I helped look at systems and help reduce waste and increase efficiency. These are the experiences I want to carry over from my experiences to the new administration and departments to help increase efficiency in our systems, increase economic development, and help overall increase revenue and reduce the tax burden on our residents.
Okay, thank you. Next, we're gonna do Ask Saeed. Same question.
Thank you, Sammy. I would really work with it's very, very important that you are able to work with the city officials, city council, our mayor, and our city staff, and of course the public, to make sure that we're able to negotiate and put things where they need to be. I have an accounting background, and I'm very, very passionate about working with the budget, but I would actually visit, the budget completely on each and every item that I can possibly do, and make sure that I audit all the funds go into different programs to make sure where we can be more efficient and sufficient, and to make sure that we have no funds being wasted. Thank you.
Thank you, Saeed. Next, John Akari.
Yeah, so I think we need to have an honest conversation about public safety spending. In 2011, this city imposed a significant tax increase of 3.5 mils in order to fund our one-of-a-kind minimum staffing requirement that no other city in the state of Michigan has. Despite that tax increase, we've reduced general personnel by nearly 30%. We've closed a library, we've closed some pools, we sold off Dearborn Towers, and we've ended some popular programs in the city. Despite that, in the same time, spending on police and fire in this city has grown by $20 million. Remember, we never recovered from those cuts. At the same time, tax revenue has only increased by $4 million. In this year alone, the increase in spending on police and fire will increase by the equivalent of almost 1 mil. As it stands today, the city of Dearborn spends $8 million more on police and fire than all revenue that it generates from the entire operating millage, period. And I want to add that no other candidate intends to address those minimum staffing requirements. And if they're promising a tax cut, that just makes it unrealistic or irresponsible for the city.
Thank you, John. Next, we can go to Robert Abraham.
Thank you. This is Councilman Robert Abraham. Regarding the budget and the mayor, I think it's important to understand that the council's role is to adopt a budget, and the mayor's role is to administrate the budget. And obviously working together throughout the year is critical, not only for each elected council person, but for the council board as an entire body. As I've learned over the years, nothing happens with one council member or two or three. You need a majority of the council to push forward all initiatives, whether it's improvement or lowering taxes or otherwise. In order to lower taxes, I think it's important that the next mayor embrace technology and that the council as a body is supportive of those changes that need to happen.
10 seconds.
Again, understanding the budget and the role of the council, it's clear in the charter. I know we brought up personnel, was brought up. The voters adopted the minimum staffing in the charter. And I think that's something the council has to respect.
Thank you, Robert. Next, Ziad Abdul Malik. Ziad, are you there?
The question one more time so I make sure we're clear, because it sounds like we might have deviated away from the actual question.
Okay, yeah, it's how would you work with the city executive board, example, the mayor, to make sure we have a balanced budget?
Well, for beginners, I would bring my experience to the table. And through my experience, I've learned that your way isn't always the right way. And even if it is the right way, you still have to convince everybody to work with you. You have to work hand in hand throughout the whole budget process. And for the budget process to work, we cannot keep going to the budget and making edits to what we have had for last year's budget. You want the budget process to work, and for the process to succeed, you need to toss the existing budget, start from scratch, write the budget as a brand new budget from the get-go. So everybody's involved in it from the first step to the final step. Going back in to make edits to a budget, okay, let's remove a number from here and add it to this department. That doesn't work. That is a short-term solution, and we, the residents, are the ones who suffer for it. We need efficiency. And by working hand in hand with everybody, we can ensure that from the beginning of the process, there's transparency. We need to ensure there's proper assessment of the homes, irresponsible spending, such as that $400,000 rebranding logo. What we need to do is ensure that there are no Band-Aids that are done to our current budget. We need to start from the beginning.
Thank you. Next question. I picked the question is, next one. Many contractors complain that getting appropriate building permits in a timely manner is unreasonable. How do you think the council can correct this long time issue? And we're going to start with Leslie Herrick. Leslie?
Hi, I apologize. We just figured out the problem with my camera. Could you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, the question is, let me just stop the watch. Many contractors complain that getting appropriate building permits or permits in general in a timely manner is unreasonable. How do you think the council can correct this long time issue?
Okay, I think I understand the question. It is very frustrating that a lot of contractors don't want to even work in Dearborn because of past practices in the property maintenance department or building and safety department. So a couple of things. First of all, I'm glad that we have a new administration. Tim Hawkins is now the head of that department, and he has been implementing changes already in the few short months that he's been the director in that department, and we're already seeing improvements there. The other thing, though, in addition to personnel changes, is technology. We are sadly behind where we should be in the use of technology in that department as well as in other departments. There are so many things that could be done online where there doesn't even need to be somebody coming into the building for a face-to-face interaction. And I think that it'll speed up the process and make it go more smoothly, and it will ensure that we're treating the contractors consistently from one contractor to the next, as opposed to what we hear, where there is inconsistency with how different contractors or people coming into City Hall to do business are treated.
Thank you, Leslie.
Thank you.
Next, Sam Lukman.
Okay, great. Thanks. I'm a realtor, and I know I can't get a closing on commercial buildings for sometimes as long as 6 months. One of the candidates said council adopts the budget, mayor administers, almost like shirking responsibility. We can't say that we're not responsible or we can't do things. Our sole purpose as a council is, with all due respect, to hold the departments and the mayor accountable. That is our role. In a democratic society, we are the checks and balances. So if there's a department that has extraneous processes or things that are making it difficult for commercial to come invest in our city, then we need to revamp that. We need to see what the problems are. Maybe we have to move the requirement of obtaining the CO from prior to closing until after. Maybe we have to do other things, but it does fall on the council to hold the departments accountable and not just say, I don't know, we're just administering, we're just approving. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Next, Khalil Othman.
I think the problem starts with our technological infrastructure at the city of Dearborn. We are living at probably the end of life technology at the city of Dearborn. The only way to improve that city services is by establishing a program or a software that will measure and assess the performance of each department. We need to measure how long it will take us from the beginning of asking for a permit till the end of when we get the approval from the city. And today, with the current technology that we have in our city, we are not able to measure the performance of these departments, so we can assess and evaluate every single department. With my experience in technology and my background, I can bring more insight into the city council by evaluating every single department and measuring the performance of every single department head. So that's the only way we will improve our services, and that's the only way we will measure every single activity.
Thank you, Khalil. We're going to go to Ken Paris.
Yes, hi, Ken Paris, your candidate for City Council. I have talked about this before council on a number of occasions. I've talked to Tim Hawkins and his predecessor, who was the director of PMDS. I'm really somebody that's a priority-based budgeting person, but let's take a look at, if you know what I'm talking about here, some of you with a technical background will know about a See Quick Fix program, a 311 type system, a one-stop shop. There is absolutely no reason why we can't do things online. Personally, I had a generator installed at my home, didn't get it inspected for 3 years. 3 years. It's unbelievable. I talked about a track-it system that we had in the city of Dearborn that we did away with because it was inefficient. AS400 systems we still have from the 1980s. City Council is looking at it right now, a $400,000 investment right now for a consulting firm to come in. I attend these meetings. I know about PMDS and the other departments, and I'm asking for your vote because I've been there. I've been watching. I've been listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Last, Mike Sereni.
Oh, Sammy, okay. Yeah, sorry, same question?
Yes, please.
Okay, yes, I have, as far as the contractors, we have a way to fix it. The state of Michigan MEDC came in and gave us an independent third-party evaluation and said we had a yellow light on development. And that is a problem They need a minimum of 3 variances to open any business in the city of Dearborn. That's not my assessment, that's the state's. The problem we have, and why when you call somebody, they say you're working in Dearborn, you give them the address, they hang up on you. The problem is, it's absolutely true, we got a new department head. That will definitely help. But again, it goes back to the council. We can write an ordinance that dictates the time, that says such and such has to be followed up in 1 day. Within 3 days, they must have an inspection. Within 7 days, they must have an answer. We don't do that. Our ordinances are written extremely loose. I complain about them all the time. I try to get them tightened up and written so that they're not interpreted, but they're interpreted all the time by the legal department and by the zoning department. There's people that apply for business and they take forever because one zoning administrator says, I don't think that works. We had one last week where they said the business was closed. And I told the director, the business is open, tell him to go to the store and see that it's open. But by one person decided to be closed, said that it had to go to a zoning department. So that's what we need to do. And we can do it by ordinance.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, so I'm gonna have to get the next question is, well, the next question is gonna be, do you support having an inspector general to oversee city departments to make sure they are efficient? The question is gonna go to Erin.
Thank you for the question. This is a tricky question, I think. I certainly support oversight, communication, and transparency. I don't know that this specific role would be the best way to do that. I'm open to considering it, open to researching that. I do think, you know, we will have certainly a new mayor, we will have several new council members. And I do think that, you know, it is the job of the administration and the council to oversee what goes on in the city with regard to department performance, spending, all of those critical pieces. So I think that that's very important. I think having a proactive administration, proactive council, and department heads who are committed to transparency and communication, I think that's really where we need to be. So I think those are some critical elements for us to look at. And of course, resident participation and feedback is critical as well. So again, I think it's something that I'd be open to looking into. But again, when we look at our city charter and the delineation of, you know, oversight, authority and responsibility, that really is the job of the mayor and the council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Silvio Davis.
Thank you. Not knowing too much about this, I would definitely think that what we have in place right now as a city is something that our checks and balances I support with. I mean, I feel like our departments, our department heads and anybody that would have to fall under this inspector general, I don't think we need it. I don't think we're at that point. Like it's been brought up, the council and the mayor's office, that's where some of the accountability would fall on. But I mean, we have commissions, we have so many commissions in the city. And I think that those commissions are what are going to keep us in line and focused on what we want to support and move forward. And so without knowing more about it, I mean, I'm definitely open to listen to anything, but to say right now that I support it, I would say no, just because I am strongly behind what our city already has in place and the leadership that does it. So thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go to Kamal Al-Qadri.
Yes, I do not support that. Again, adding another layer and another, you know, just pointing fingers. I mean, the council is elected, the mayor is elected. Having another person to oversee it's just adding another layer there, and it does not need to be there. So no, I do not support that.
Okay, thank you. We're gonna go to Kadur Farhat next.
Yeah, so I do not support that with all honesty, because I don't see and I don't think that we are at that point. And As my fellow candidates said, that there's going to be another layer, and who is going to pay for that? I mean, we are complaining about taxes. A lot of residents are not happy with our tax rates. Plus the mayor is elected, the council is elected, and the public is watching as well. So I think that with a great partnership with all these three, I think we can achieve that without adding any more steps into the process of making it more complex. Transparency and accountability are very important, but I think with the collaboration of these three parties, public, council, mayor, I think it can be done.
Okay, thank you for. And then we're gonna go to Mustafa Hamoud.
So we've been talking about streamlining government, cutting taxes, and removing bureaucracy. Here I'd have to say it sounds like an additional unnecessary layer to actually getting things done. I think it's the job of elected city officials to maintain oversight over department spending and implementation of city policy. I think the key here is we need to make sure that whoever the new mayor is, they bring in department heads and officials that are responsive to the needs of the citizens and the city council. And I think that it's the role of the council to make sure that they exercise their oversight role in making sure that the city is implementing their policy efficiently, effectively, and within the bounds of the laws of the city. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next question will be, are you satisfied with the services the city delivers? What would you recommend if not? And this question will go to Kamal Al-Sawafi.
Hello, everybody. Kamal Sawafi, candidate for Dearborn City Council. I think there's always room for improvement. And even if we are satisfied with our current services, I think we have to look at, are we spending the right amount for these same services? Can we get the same services or better services from another provider and decrease our spending? I mean, it's having the same service, but at a lower cost is something that I would always strive for, or improving our services. I think it's always a good idea to look at best practices, benchmark other cities around the country. I mean, at a minimum, we should be as good as the best city in the country and then improve from there. I think there's a lot of examples. I do a lot of research on other cities in the country. I see cities within Wayne County and what they do for their services. And I think at a minimum, we should look at best practices. I appreciate the services in the city of Dearborn, but there's always room for improvement. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we're gonna go to Saeed Mashkari.
Thank you, sir. Saeed Al-Awadi, Saeed Mashkari Al-Awadi. Sorry about that. I think as Brother Kamal has mentioned, there's always room for city services to be more efficient and more sufficient. And I think it comes down to balancing the budgets to make sure that we have funds in the right place to serve the right purpose. I think that's more important than anything else. We can definitely make our city services much better, and we can make our city much more beautiful. And I am really passionate about, putting this all together and making sure that we have and improve our city services. Thank you.
Thank you. John Akari.
Yeah, so the city's been making significant cuts to city services for the last 10 years. And at this point, I'm not sure how much more you could bleed out of that rock. The question makes me think of an individual I ran into while knocking doors. He works for the Department of Public Works, and he was explaining how the city contracts work out. We've been in a race to bottom to minimize costs, and we've sacrificed quality as a result. And there was a project involving the removal of stumps that this contractor had botched. And you try to save a penny, you cost yourself $1. They had to send Public Works out to correct the botched job. It also makes me think of other residents who have complained about the decline in the quality of our sanitation service. I have a lot of respect for sanitation workers, but I think that At the time when we had city workers, it was a
10
much
seconds.
better result, and you saw less litter and clutter after that. So, and I think if you are attempting to cut taxes, that's only going to exacerbate the situation and worsen the
Thank
quality
you.
of services even more. And I want to protect and expand services.
Thanks, John. Next, we're gonna go to Robert Abraham. Robert.
Yes, thank you, Councilman Robert Abraham here. Expanding or balancing and prioritizing services is something that the council does really on a day-to-day basis with almost every agenda item that comes forward. Spending a dollar, I always like to say you can only spend each dollar one time and then it's gone. And it's a difficult challenge to create a modest and affordable tax-based environment and yet deliver the highest possible quality services to our residents. And that's really been a struggle going back 20 to 25 years as revenues have been declining. And I think it's the job of the council as a body and each council member to understand the priorities and services that their constituents want and need and find a way to deliver them in a very difficult purchasing environment where at times our purchasing ordinances force the council really to look at lowest cost bids and find ways to deliver quality services at a low rate.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
We're gonna go to Ziad Abdul Malik. Ziad, are you there?
There we go. Thank you.
Go ahead.
We already have great city services. Are they perfect in the way that the services are performed? No. Could they be more efficient? Yes. What we need to do is find a way to be more efficient all the way across the board. On top of the services that we already have, I would like to expand on those services, primarily focusing on our senior citizens. We look up to them. They were our parents and grandparents, and we should always look to help those that can't always help themselves. And specifically, I'm talking about maybe expanding into a program in the wintertime that allows us as a city to have our public works come out and shovel their snow, rake their leaves, help them with anything that can be accommodating for them. And that can't be done unless the proper budget is there. And to have a proper budget, the money that's in the budget has to be properly allocated. Now, in my experience from my previous works, my job was to specifically find where the money was being hemorrhaged and allocate it to the right department. So with that being said, we already have great city services, and the only thing we can do on them is improve. Thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, I'm trying to, it's almost 8:35. We got 2 more questions to go. I'm gonna split them between you. We're gonna start with this question. The question is, there is very little retail, but there are a lot of vacant properties in Dearborn. How does your plan for Dearborn include a way to attract new retail and filling these vacancies? We're gonna start with Mike Saraini. Mike?
Yeah, can you hear me, Sammy?
Yes.
Okay. Again, the council has the power of doing this by ordinance. For example, we made our ordinances too restrictive that Ford Motor Company came to the council and said they need to change the ordinance so they can rent some spots in Wagner Place. So again, when we have people say, why are these places vacant? They're vacant because we create an ordinance where you can't put nothing in this place. And then we wonder why they're not there. So we have to attract retail. To attract retail, we can't change the ordinance every 6 to 8 months to bend to who wants it. We have to have a good department head in that position who knows how to attract businesses throughout the country and bring them here. We have to attract them here by making them business friendly. You know, we are not, and we know that. That's why we have lost population over the last 10 years. where the state and the country has grown in population, and Dearborn has lost population. We need to do a better job, and we can do that by creating ordinances that allow people to open businesses and become business friendly. But when we see all these businesses close, that's because people have applied and we told them that doesn't go here. You can't put that here. You don't have enough parking spots here. It's famous. I brought it up at Alcamos. They only need 3 parking spots over there on Schaefer, and they have 4 employees or 5 employees. Our ordinances are not written properly. They're not written strong enough. And that will not happen if I'm on the council. I'm trying to do that. I've been working on that for many years.
Thank you, Mike. Next, we're going to go to Ken Paris. Ken?
Yes, I firmly believe that we're not being business friendly in this community. If you happen to recall, and I don't want to go back in the past, but I'm just using this as an example, Mayor O'Reilly, during his last campaign for mayor, wanted to have an ombudsman, a facilitator, to go ahead and work out some of the problems that these businesses might have in developing and coming in and establishing themselves in the community. But there was also an economic roundtable that was supposed to have been established. We have another area, the central part of the city, that was supposed to be established and go like gangbusters, but then of course the pandemic hit. What's happened to 6906 Kingsley, where we were supposed to have a senior development, 47 unit development at that location? What's happened to Village Plaza? What's happened to the Hyatt Regency? We have to hold those owners accountable no matter who they are, and we need to attract other businesses. There's so many ways of doing this, and I've talked about that also on my Dearborn Eye page. Thank you.
Thank you, Cam. Next, we're going to go to Khalil Othman.
Khalil Othman here for Dearborn City Council. I truly believe the city is suffering from a severe economic development. We have so many facilities, so many investments in Dearborn are going out of business. Hyatt Regency, Fairlane Mall, Henry Ford Village. There is so many other vacant buildings in our city. And the only way to bring businesses here is to start looking at a holistic economic development plan, where we will be able to offer and attract investors by offering incentives and tax credit that will bring businesses and to come to the city of Dearborn and invest here. One of the biggest challenges across the board for our city is dealing with the city itself. Trying to bring a business here and open a business, it takes forever to get a permit. It takes forever to get the process, the paperwork through. So we need to fix from within the city and improve and provide tax credit incentives to those businesses who will come and make it a welcoming city. Thank you.
Thank you, Khalil. Next, Sam Lokman. Sam, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. So my plan is this, regarding what the city is doing now in the vacancies. How about we hold the building and safety department accountable on their permitting and occupancy processes? How about we don't bring large scale marijuana facilities and ruin it for all the businesses who want to be on those lots? How about you stop taking away ball fields from Rotunda Drive and converting them to industrial? What business owner or restaurant owner wants to be setting up shop next to a steel mill or a huge, large industry? I mean, that just doesn't make sense. How about we reduce the water rates that you hiked up on the small businesses to pay for the corporations to get an over $1 million a year discount? I mean, let's look at what's already wrong with the situation and what's making these businesses not want to come here, and then try to address that. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Can I go to Leslie Herrick? Leslie?
Okay, same question?
Yes.
Okay. We definitely need to have a more diverse business districts, more different types of businesses across the city. Part of that is the Economic and Community Development Department. I think that I've been disappointed in how they've been operating this past year. They spent a lot of time working on the census during COVID. And as I said, I'm disappointed in what we've seen come out of that department this past year. In partnership, ECD works with the Chambers of Commerce and the Downtown Development Authorities. The Downtown Development Authorities are spending a lot of money on branding, and some of the money that could have gone into some of the branding initiatives probably could have been used better to try to attract different businesses here. But the underlying problems of we're not as business friendly as we should be. We need to address that and change that regarding parking and getting permits and making it easier for new businesses to start up here.
Thank you, Leslie. Can I go to Mustafa Hamoud?
Hey, so that's a good question. We need to be proactive and cut the red tape and seek new businesses in our city. And we need to work with contractors as well as the businesses to make the city a more welcoming place to innovate and contribute not only to our community, but Southeast Michigan in general. We have to have an agile zoning board, and we need to create ordinances that allow for flexibility in the use of our city land. We need data-driven and an efficient approach to the way that we implement our city policy, and we need to be prepared for the future of businesses and mobility as well. So if you elect me to city council, these are definitely approaches that we're going to look at. And I think it's a huge problem that we absolutely need to address.
Okay, thank you. We can go to Kadur Farhat.
Thank you, Sammy. It's me again, Kadur Farhat. Certainly we need more businesses to come into Dearborn, not only for the economic prosperity, but also for diversity and, the great addition that they're going to bring to our city. But how we can do that if we have many issues as far as tax rates, if the acquiring paperwork and permits is so complex, and if the technology aspect of it in that regard also we're still lagging, and if you don't have the actual infrastructure, the proper infrastructure on the ground. So if you want to open up a business in the East End, for example, and you don't have enough, parking structure, how can you expect a lot of people to come in? So I think we need to make all of that easier. We want to, get rid of a lot of, these complications and problems. But also we need to, as council members, we need to have the courage to stand up, whenever we see inconsistency or just, somebody is covering a certain factory or large corporation. Everybody should get a shot to move forward Thank you.
Okay, it looks like I might have a problem. My computer will shut down in 30 minutes and it will reboot. So I'm going to ask Tom, if I get disconnected, I would like to ask one more question, and then we will do the closing comments. I hope we can answer this question quickly. This is a little lengthy, but I'm going to make it quick. Recognizing that historic neighborhoods not only maintain our history, but can also bring additional state funding to the city. Please tell us your stance on passing revised and updated historic district ordinance, which would enable various neighborhoods to pursue the idea of whether or not a historic district would be right for them, thereby preserving Dearborn's architectural heritage. I'm going to start this with Ziad Abdul Malik. Ziad, are you there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so adding these new historic districts here to the city or zoning them as historic districts, I think should be ultimately left to the residents in that neighborhood. I'm not one to come out there and tell you what to do with your home or how to do with your home. I feel that you bought your home in a non-historic designated area. Any designation coming thereafter should be designated by the residents of that neighborhood. So regardless of what that might mean for the city and funding and whatnot, when you buy a home, I feel that you should be able to do what you need to do with it as long as it's within the bounds of the current law. I feel like if you've moved in there, you should be able to have been grandfathered in. So moving forward, if you want to live in a historic district and you all can agree to it as the neighborhoods and you vote on it and you approve it, I'm all for it. But there are restrictions to once you're historic districts as far as upgrades and what you would like your home to see, because everybody has what they view as a beautiful and a future home, but it might not conform to their needs if that district is designated historic.
Thank you, Ziad.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Abraham? Councilman?
Yes, thank you. The Historic Preservation District is a very complicated change to our ordinance if it's approved, and one that's been already debated for some time. For me, as a member of the council, I feel like the owners and the individual property rights that come with owning land, not only in Dearborn, but in the United States of America, in my view, supersede local ordinances trying to manage the preservation of historical neighborhoods. And yet I place great value in our heritage in Dearborn and the character of our city and our neighborhoods. And so for me personally, it's a difficult balance trying to restrict or manage what others can do with their property to preserve that heritage that I do value quite deeply. And I think this issue is complex and one that will be debated by perhaps this council now and even maybe into the next council to get a resolution. And when we do, I'll do whatever I can to make sure that the ordinance that's adopted is administrated to the best of our ability in each and every.
Thank you, Councilman. We're gonna go to next to John Akari.
Yeah, so I don't claim to be an expert or to have all the answers, and this is really one of the areas where I feel it's best to be deferential to the individuals who live in those neighborhoods, so long as they come to some sort of collective decision in a transparent way. As a council member, I think that it would be best to respect that decision. My understanding is that the proposed historic districts are, postage stamps compared to the rest of the areas of the city, and that part of the reason they're seeking these ordinances is to prevent these the development of these large, modern, in some views, tacky mansions in those areas. And I understand that concern. And so long as a historic homes ordinance doesn't prevent the development of affordable housing units throughout the rest of the city, then I think it's best to be deferential to the lived experience of the neighbors within those neighborhoods.
Thank you, John. We're going to go to Saeed Mashkari.
Thank you, Sammy. I believe that these district preservations are very, very important, not only to the person or individual holding that particular housing, but to the entire community and to the entire neighborhood. I believe if someone had made this probably huge investment into some sort of historical residential, I think they should be able to and should maintain that heritage and preserve that heritage. I don't think that we need to mandate anything new on them, but absolutely to preserve and upkeep of those properties are very, very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're gonna go to Kamal Sawafi.
Thank you, Sam. That's a great question, actually. And I think it's at this point, it's really important to listen to the people. Yes, I'm an officer in the Army National Guard, but I'm not trying to be the commander-in-chief, rather the listener-in-chief. So it's at this point that we have to listen to the people and listen to the experts and make our collective decision based off of that. I am not the expert in that field, but I would want to consult with the residents first and the experts and see what's been done around the country and what we could do here. And on that same point of making our city more beautiful and our businesses One thing I would like to do for our downtowns is provide a grant through the American Rescue Plan that's coming in, and we have $48 million coming into the city of Dearborn to change the facade of the businesses, help give them grants, make a unified facade, and also make the streets more walkable for residents. You look at downtown Dearborn, you look at all the other downtowns in other cities, and you can see that they're more walkable. More people are walking downtown. You look at Warren Avenue, Michigan Avenue, a lot of people walking downtown. And I want to focus on bringing that walkability and safety to our downtowns, because research shows that when a downtown is walkable and beautiful, we have more business and more revenue to our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Kamal. We're going to go to Erin.
Thank you. I think the key here is really communication between residents. So we need to work with residents in any and all of the neighborhoods that could be considered historic under an ordinance to bring people together for open dialogue within a transparent process. I think that's number one. It's really important, I think, to strike a balance between preservation and the property rights of residents and homeowners. Of course, funding from the state, tax credits for owners of historic homes are very important. And I think that would be a win for our residents whose properties will qualify in that right. I'm open to re-examining the ordinance that council has discussed over the past year or more with an aim to really, again, just bring neighbors together and create a path forward that both honors our history and allows for progress and growth. So I think where we can strike that balance, that's really where we need to be. And again, bringing folks together for that honest dialogue in a process that is transparent and inclusive.
Thank you, Erin. Can I go to Silvio Davis?
Thank you. So coming to the ordinances, everybody's kind of hit it right on the head. I mean, it comes down to communication with the residents that are owners of that home in that neighborhood. So definitely, working together and having that transparency with the neighborhood associations, with residents there is going to be key to what, we're going to be able to pass or push forward. Me personally, I love the historical districts and historical homes. So if I was a homeowner, that would be something that I would, want to definitely just reaching out to everybody and having everyone's opinion, because everyone's a homeowner and things are enforced for a reason. But change is always something that comes in the future and comes with us moving forward. So
10 seconds.
The whole dialogue and communication would be definitely what you hit on the head. Thank you.
Thank you, Salvi. We can go to Kamal Al-Kadiri.
So, making historic districts, it's keeping the city's architecture and the feel of the neighborhoods alive and protecting it. However, then you're adding another restriction for homeowners, and we need to be able to attract homeowners, and then restricting on how they can remodel, how they can paint the color of their house or siding or anything like that. You're adding more restrictions, and you're not you're making it more difficult for residents to move in. However, I do understand building these houses that they're going up and they're building the maximum footprint, and it's just a square. There's no architecture to it. They're taking that same blueprint and just duplicating that house. And so I can definitely see that. Again, ordinances will restrict that, and I think that's what would be best for the city. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, okay, we did ask all the questions that we're supposed to ask. And now we're going to go to closing comments. And it's going to be 1 minute, and please to be short. This is your last chance, to tell us why our members and the club should support you or vote for you. We're going to start with the first one with Kadur Farhat.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sammy, and thanks for the Dearborn Democratic Club for hosting this. I'm a proud member of the club and I'm a member of the executive board as well. As I mentioned earlier, and throughout my answers, I've been very involved in our community. I care deeply about our community. I'm heavily involved, and I have extreme, great passion and commitment to our community. That's why I'm running. I'm running because I believe that I do have the experience, the education, and the diversity. I bring diversity to the table as a blind person to bring the disabled community discussion and their issues, as well as our seniors and every single resident. I'm running to represent all Dearborn, West, East, South, North. And last year's election, I proved that I can be a voice of reason and I can unite everybody. I did earn each and every single endorsement possible last year, and I'm looking forward to hopefully earning the very same. So I bring a voice of reason, innovation, diversity, energy, and I do believe that I'll bring a great change, and I will fight for our residents, and I will never be scared of making the right decision. I'm not there to become popular. I'm ready to make the right decision for the sake of empowering and bettering our city. Vote Farhat on August. Thank you.
Okay, can I take Mustafa Hamoud?
Thank you again for hosting this forum. I hope to earn one of your 7 votes for council and the support of the Dearborn Democrats. And if any of you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me on any of my social media platforms and visit my website at hamoudforcouncil.com for any of that information. I'm thankful for the opportunities that our city has afforded for generations of our residents, including my immigrant parents and grandparents, and I want to continue that for future families. My top priorities are public health, fiscal responsibility, long-term environmental sustainability, and the modernization of our city government to make it more accessible to everyone. I think the city can do more to attract and support small business owners, and I want to make sure that our city is ready for the future. I hope to earn one of your votes. Thank you very much, and have a good evening.
Thank you, Mustafa. Where can I go next? I'm switching phones right now. I'm on my phone. Where can I go to? Kamal Al-Qadiri? Kamal?
Okay, so thank you for the Democratic Club for holding this event. It's been an honor to be part of it. So I'm looking to for your vote in the August election to build a better Dearborn, to keep the services that we have and improve them, become efficient. I look at Dearborn as being one Dearborn again. You know, there's no South, West, or East Dearborn. We need to build the bridges, and I'm that person. I will fight for the residents. I fought for the residents here where I work for you know, COVID. Getting clinics, setting up clinics for them when everyone else told us no. So I'm very dedicated to the residents here and the future of Dearborn as far as future residents and attracting future businesses. So part of that is, you know, I will be consistent. There will be no, I know this person, I know that person. So I'm looking forward to being one of the 7 votes come August. So thank you.
Thank you, Kamal. We can go to Sylvia. Sylvia David.
Yep. Thank you. So I want to say thank you definitely to the Democratic Club, everybody watching. Thank you. And a special thank you to all the candidates that stepped up and their families that are running. With my diverse background, my understanding of teamwork and the relationships that I've built within this community, with my volunteer work over the past 10 years, that's prepared me to represent this community. I've already established relationships with city leaders, city officials, community leaders, all the people that are in this community. They see me out there. I'm visible. My commitment to the residents is passion to me. I love this city. So I understand the commitment for this position. That's why I've decided to run. So I want to be a voice for everybody equally throughout this community. And I think together as a community, we're always going to be stronger. That's why I'm asking for your vote in August. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, we are going to Leslie Herrick. Leslie.
Thank you again for hosting the forum and for your attention and the questions that we addressed today. They were very meaningful. Dearborn has a bright future, and I'm proud of the work that I was able to do in my first term serving you on Dearborn City Council, including supporting public safety workers, investing in our communities, and arts, culture, and recreation. It's important that we continue to provide those services and opportunities for our residents, because that's what makes Dearborn a vibrant community for people to enjoy and with their families and friends. I will continue to build our city's future, supporting quality of life projects like a splash pad in the south end of Dearborn. I've been advocating to raise funds to make that project go forward, and I look forward to working with the residents in that area of the city. Ensuring Dearborn is a welcoming community for all is a priority for me. And again, transparency and accountability through all of our communications. Thank you for your time. I'm Leslie Herrick. Please vote for me and re-elect me to your Dearborn City Council.
Thank you, Leslie. We're going to go to Sam Lokman. Sam.
Thank you. So as I've been saying all along, my feelings about the council is that there's been a lack of accountability by the council, the city's departments, and this is historical. It's not something new. And since the council hadn't been investigating and checking the administration, I did mention that I was thinking that an inspector general is a necessity. So I, as a person that's going into council, I'm looking for making changes via accountability. Last month, we had a proposal for renewal to increase our millage, partially to cover operating costs when the state and federal government were already committing millions to our city. Since 2011, that emergency millage was renewed in 2016, and I want to see why we are not reducing our operating costs during that time. Why are we wasting taxpayer dollars, spending nearly $500,000 on our logo, $200,000 on unused outdoor COVID tents? We've lost recreation with the removal of Hemlock and Crowley parks, the threatening of closure of Summer Stevens, Lapeer, and Tenike pools. We've lost our health department. I've been to more meetings as a resident than I've ever needed to be on, from planning commissions, recreation commissions, and city council meetings. I want to go in and I want to make the changes from the inside out. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're going to go to Erin. Erin.
Thank you. Thank you to the Dearborn Democratic Club for hosting us tonight, and thank you to everyone in attendance. Really appreciate your time. I've had the honor of serving our city for the past 4 years, and I look forward to building on the progress we've made together. As an educator, I bring a community empowerment approach to city council, from advocating for our seniors to supporting economic development across the city. I've worked hard to keep Dearborn residents safe over the past year, securing a grant for PPE for over 700 seniors in city housing, and supporting our consolidated vaccination center and our first responders as well. I'll continue to do everything possible to make Dearborn a vibrant, healthy city where all of our community members can truly thrive. And as we move forward, you can count on me to be an honest, responsive council member who works hard every day for you and your loved ones. My name is Erin Burns, and I'm asking for your vote on August 3rd. And again, thank you everyone for your time tonight.
Thank you, Erin. Okay. We're gonna go to Kamal Astawafi.
Yes. Hello, friends. Kamal Sawafi here, candidate for Dearborn City Council. And I'd like to thank the organizers for hosting this event and everybody in attendance. And I'd like just to add that Dearborn is not about a structure or an organization. Dearborn is about its people and its neighborhoods. And that's why I want to further invest in our streets, parks, businesses, and most importantly, in our quality of life. What makes me qualified and unique as a candidate for Dearborn City Council is my diversified and relevant experience. Dearborn is a great place to call home, but we're facing so many challenges. And it's my experience as the business development manager for Wayne County, it's my experiences as a business owner, and it's my experience as a military officer that provide me with the necessary skill sets to become an effective city council member. I've served our country, I've served our county, and now I'm asking you to help me in serving our city. At the end of the day, I'm your neighbor, and I just want to do good for our neighborhood. My name is Kamal Al-Sawafi, and I'm running for Dearborn City Council, and I hope that I can count on your support August 3rd. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you, Kamal. We're going to go to Khalil Othman. Khalil.
All right. Once again, thank you very much for hosting such an amazing event, and thank you for the people who joined us tonight. For the last decade, I have been volunteering with throughout so many activities, and I do believe the last couple of years I worked as a commissioner for the recreation and parks, and I always advocate for youth development programs throughout the city and throughout the years. As an IT leader and a community activist, I do believe that I have the qualifications, skills, and experience to represent Dearborn residents. My technological and innovative mindset, coupled with a common sense problem-solving approach, make me a unique among other candidates and will bring fresh, new perspective to Dearborn City Council. I will continue to work tirelessly to drive the change that will put Dearborn residents first. I have spent the last 17 years working to improve my lives in this great city. I want to bring the same drive, passion, and problem-solving vision as your city council member to improve the lives of all Dearborn residents. As Americans, it's our duty to make Dearborn a better place for our children and grandchildren. Please. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. We're going to Saeed Mashkari.
Yes, thank you, Sammy. And thank you for hosting this beautiful event. And thanks to all of those that joined tonight. Dearborn is my home. I feel like each and every resident is my family. I have served this city from the bottom of my heart over the last 30 years. I served on many different boards. I served 6 years as a precinct delegate, and I served 8 years as a traffic commission. I have always been where my city needed me with the struggle of this pandemic and this vital point in history that we find ourselves in. Dearborn needs someone who cares about it. It needs someone who has a vision and someone who can get things done on city council. I will always be there for my city when it needs me most. And now Dearborn needs me on city council. I hope to earn everyone's support. Thank you.
Thank you, Saeed. We're going to go next to John Akari.
Thank you, Sammy, and thank you to the Dearborn Dems and my fellow candidates for coming tonight and everybody in attendance. And I also want to go out of my way to wish a happy and safe Pride to our LGBTQ neighbors. But we've all sacrificed a lot in the last year. But we can't ignore that many people struggled before this pandemic and will continue to struggle long after it's under control. Our goal as we emerge from the pandemic should not just be a return to normal, because normal wasn't cutting it for most people. Dearborn shouldn't settle for city leadership that's too unwilling or unimaginative to exercise its power to take bold, decisive action to improve quality of life in the city. And that's exactly what's required to avert the disastrous course that Dearborn was on even prior to COVID. We have to commit to a deep change. And to do otherwise would be merely failing a little better than we have in the last year. And Dearborn deserves better than that. To learn more about my vision for the city, please visit our website, johnfordearborn.com. Thank you.
Thank you, John. We're going to go to Councilman Robert Abraham.
Yes, thank you. And thank you everyone for attending. I guess I'm the optimist in the room because I still believe that Dearborn is probably one of the greatest communities in the world. I grew up here. My grandparents lived here. My parents live here. And I think Dearborn and its diversity is unique and like no other community. It's a big city with a small town feel where everybody knows each other. My goal is to lend my professional experiences together with my council experiences to continue on that legacy for the children in this community. My kids grew up here, they're adults. As I said, I grew up here, and I want everybody that moves here or is here to have the same experience and upbringing that I had, knowing their neighbors and knowing the people around them in a small town way. At the same time, I still believe we need to protect our first responders, our public safety, police and fire, so that every day they can too go to work and protect us and go home to their families as well. Thank you, everyone, and I respectfully ask for your vote in the next election.
Thank you, Councilman.
Sammy, sorry to interrupt. Just for clarification, somebody is commenting on my behalf using my name to comment in the chat room. Just for clarification, it's not me. He put his name as Khalil Othman. I just want to make sure that's clear.
Okay, thank you. We're going to go to Ken Paris. Ken?
Yes, folks, you can take a look at my campaign pages, my website, and then also Dearborn Eye that I posted a lot of information over the years now to inform citizens, because the vast majority of residents don't really have an understanding what's going on in the city, what the issues are, and what city council is doing. That's been my thoughts to access this information to our residents so they would know. You know, I'm priority-based responsibility for our budget. I'm on all public safety issues, investment and development technology and infrastructure, and of course, increased efficiency and customer service. But I'm going to tell you what's number one, and we're still not addressing it. We need a directed and organized traffic safety program based on strong data, gleaned from crash reports from all accident locations and what their causation is, information from engineering and traffic consultants, and verified citizen complaints. We need traffic calming in this city. As a prior chair of the Dearborn Traffic Commission, as a prior police officer, I brought some of these issues to the Traffic Commission about traffic calming, in particular about Ann Arbor and Livonia. I know about these issues. I ran 4 years ago with some of these same issues. Has anything been better for our residents? Are you sick and tired of the traffic complaints? Sick and tired of the noise? I am. Let's do something about it. Vote for Ken Paris August 3rd. I am your candidate. I've had a long history of going to these council meetings. I know the process. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go to Ziad Abdul Malik. Ziad, are you there?
Thank you. Yes, I would like to again thank the Democratic Club again for hosting tonight's event. Helps better inform everybody about who we are and what we're doing. So I'd like to start off by a quote, one of my favorite quotes. It's every moment is a fresh beginning, T.S. Eliot, and that could be one of the most honest things that I've held down to and embraced. A fresh beginning is a window into the bigger picture, which is our future. And our future is what I plan on leading us all into, hand in hand with our future city council members. Nothing can be done as a lone ranger. You have to be able to work with everybody as a group. And I plan on working with everybody and getting along and making sure that the right decisions are made on behalf of our residents. We're going to put in what the true definition, we're going to put it into effect of transparency. Ideas of bringing in like an outside auditor to make sure that everything is fluent and our budget is proper once it's all said and done and revised and reviewed. So with these new ideas of moving into the future, I hope that I can secure your vote and find a seat on the city council this election. Thank you.
Thank you, Ziad. And we do have, I think last one is Councilman Mike Sereni. Mike?
All right, thank you, Sammy. Thank you for the hosting the event and the Dearborn Democratic Club. So I've had the distinct honor of serving as your council person for the last 7+ years. It's been very challenging at times, but it's been very rewarding. I do agree that we have a tremendous city. And one of the reasons why I'm rerunning is because I believe now more than ever, we need experienced leadership. With the change of administrations, many of the people in the administrations in this administration right now have 25 to 30 years plus. I never forget my first 2 or 3 meetings where they said, we've always done it this way. It's time for a change. I think at this time, we're going to have a very big change in our administration, mayor and administrative heads, and I'd love to be part of it. I'm a very passionate voice. I see things black and white, and I'm not afraid to say them. I have challenged many things in the city. I have challenged our city attorney on an ordinance that I said was illegal, that was deemed to be illegal by the state of Michigan when I was on my first term. If you check out my website, councilmanserini.com, you will see not today, but 2 years ago, me having a passionate voice for our water rates, trying to reduce them even more, bringing exposure to that. During our city budgeting process, which I said I'm very passionate about, you will see that I have found mistakes and errors and misleading information given to us. So I hope that we will see you in August for the primary. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. It has been a great, wonderful forum. It looks like you guys all agree on a lot of subjects that the city needs to be more friendly toward business, department improvements, especially the building permit. All agree that we need a better air and quality, water quality in the city, as well as we need to make sure you all agree that you need to work with the executive board, if you want to call it, on several issues. And you all concerned about coming up with ways of reducing our taxes and have more efficient services. These are all great points you guys agree to, and I hope everything will go well with everybody. And we would like to wish you a good luck in this coming primary. I would like to say thank you again for coming, and I would like to wish you a happy good night to everybody, actually, and get some rest. Sorry to keep you for about 2 hours and 18 minutes.